Hello students, welcome in Department of Nanoscience and Nanotechnology class SYBSc semester 3rd subject NS231 Physical Techniques for Synthesis of Nanomaterials. Paper first chapter is Hybrid Technique. Today's topic is Plasma Enhanced Chemical Vapor Deposition, that is PECVD, and laser irradiation in liquids. Contents are: first is plasma enhanced chemical vapor deposition. In that introduction, apparatus and discharges for processes, reactor types and applications. And next is laser irradiation in liquids, that is liquid phase plasma synthesis. First is plasma enhanced chemical vapor deposition, that is PECVD. Plasma enhanced chemical vapor deposition, that is PECVD, is a process by which thin films of various materials can be deposited on substrate at lower temperature than that of standard chemical vapor deposition, that is CVD. In PECVD processes, deposition is achieved by introducing reactant gases between parallel electrodes, that is a grounded electrode and an RF energized electrode. The capacitive coupling between the electrodes excites the reactant gases into a plasma, which induces a chemical reaction and results in the reaction product being deposited on the substrate. The substrate, which is placed on the grounded electrode, is typically heated to 250 degrees Celsius to 350 degrees Celsius depending on the specific film requirements. In comparison, CVD requires 600 degrees Celsius to 800 degrees Celsius. The lower deposition temperatures are critical in many applications where CVD temperatures could damage the devices being fabricated. A chemical vapor deposition process used to deposit thin films from a gas state, that is vapor, to a solid state on a substrate. Chemical reactions are involved in the process, which occur after creation of plasma of the reacting gases. The plasma is generally created by radio frequency, alternating current frequency, or direct current discharge between two electrodes, the space between which is filled with the reacting gases. Then the apparatus or components of particular PECVD is look like this. Okay, discharges for processes are: a plasma is any gas in which a significant percentage of the atoms or molecules are ionized. Fractional ionization in plasmas used for deposition and related material processing varies from about 10 raised to -4 in typical capacitive discharges to as high as 5 to 10% in high density inductive plasmas. Processing plasmas are typically operated at pressures of a few millitorr to a few torr, although arc discharges and inductive plasmas can be ignited at atmospheric pressure. Plasmas with low fractional ionization are of great interest for materials processing because electrons are so light compared to atoms and molecules that energy exchange between the electrons and neutral gas is very inefficient. Therefore, the electrons can be maintained at very high equivalent temperatures, tens of thousands of kelvins, equivalent to several electron volts average energy, while the neutral atoms remain at the ambient temperature. These energetic electrons can induce many processes that would otherwise be very improbable at low temperatures, such as dissociation of precursor molecules and the creation of large quantities of free radicals. A second benefit of deposition within a discharge arises from the fact that electrons are more mobile than ions. As a consequence, the plasma is normally more positive than any object it is in contact with, as otherwise large flux of electrons would flow from the plasma to the object. The difference in voltage between the plasma and the object in its contacts normally occurs across a thin sheet region. Ionized atoms or molecules that diffuse to the edge of the sheath region feel an electrostatic force and are accelerated towards the neighboring surface. Thus, all surfaces exposed to the plasma receive energetic ion bombardment. The potential across the sheet surrounding an electrically isolated object, that is the floating potential, is typically only 10 to 20 volt, but much higher sheet potentials are achievable by adjustments in reactor geometry and configuration. Thus, films can be exposed to energetic ion bombardment during deposition. This bombardment can lead to increase in density of the film and help remove contaminants, improving the film's electrical and mechanical properties. When a high density plasma is used, the ion density can be high enough that significant sputtering of the deposited film occurs. This sputtering can be employed to help planarize the film and fill trenches or holes. Next is reactor type. This commercial system was designed for the semiconductor field and contains three 8-inch diameter targets that can be run individually or simultaneously to deposit metallic or dielectric films on substrates ranging up to 24-inch in diameter. In use at the Argonne National Laboratory, a simple DC discharge can be readily created at a few torr between two conductive electrodes and may be suitable for deposition of conductive materials. However, insulating films will quickly extinguish this discharge as they are deposited. It is more common to excite a capacitive discharge by applying an AC or RF signal between an electrode and the conductive walls of a reactor chamber, or between two cylindrical conductive electrodes facing one another. The latter configuration is known as a parallel plate reactor. Frequencies of a few tens of hertz to a few thousand hertz will produce time-varying plasmas that are repeatedly initiated and extinguished. Frequencies of tens of kilohertz to tens of megahertz result in reasonably time-independent discharges. Excitation frequencies in the low frequency range, usually around 100 kilohertz, require several hundred volts to sustain the discharge. These large voltages lead to high energy ion bombardment of surfaces. High frequency plasmas are often excited at the standard 13.56 MHz frequency, widely available for industrial use. At high frequencies, the displacement current from sheath movement and scattering from the sheath assist in ionization, and thus lower voltages are sufficient to achieve higher plasma densities. Thus one can adjust the chemistry and ion bombardment in the deposition by changing the frequency of excitation or by using a mixture of low and high frequency signals in a dual frequency reactor. Excitation power of tens to hundreds of watts is typical for an electrode with a diameter of 200 to 300 mm. Capacitive plasmas are usually very lightly ionized, resulting in limited dissociation of precursors and low deposition rates. Much denser plasmas can be created using inductive discharges, in which an inductive coil excited with a high frequency signal induces an electric field within the discharge, accelerating electrons in the plasma itself rather than just at the sheath edge. Electron cyclotron resonance reactors and helicon wave antennas have also been used to create high density discharges. Excitation powers of 10 kW or more are often used in modern reactors. High density plasmas can also be generated by a DC discharge in an electron rich environment, obtained by thermionic emission from heated filaments. The voltages required by the arc discharge are the order of a few tens of volts, resulting in low energy ions. The high density low energy plasma is exploited for the epitaxial deposition at high rates in low energy plasma enhanced chemical vapor deposition reactors. Then film examples and application. Plasma deposition is often used in semiconductor manufacturing to deposit films conformally covering side walls and onto wafer containing metal layers or other temperature sensitive structures. PECVD also yields some of the fastest deposition rates while maintaining film quality such as roughness, defects or voids as compared with sputter deposition and thermal or electron beam evaporation, often at the expense of uniformity. Silicon dioxide can be deposited using a combination of silicon precursor gases like dichlorosilane or silane and oxygen precursors such as oxygen and nitrous oxide, typically at pressures from a few millitorr to a few torr. Plasma deposited silicon nitride formed from silane and ammonia or nitrogen. It also widely used, although it is important to note that it is not possible to deposit a pure nitride in this fashion. Plasma nitrides always contain a large amount of hydrogen which can be bonded to silicon or nitrogen. This hydrogen has an important influence on IR and UV absorption, stability, mechanical stress and electrical conductivity. This is often used as a surface and bulk passivating layer for commercial multicrystalline silicon photovoltaic cells. Silicon dioxide can also be deposited from a tetraethoxysilane silicon precursor in an oxygen or oxygen argon plasma. These films can be contaminated with significant carbon and hydrogen as silanol and can be unstable in air. Precursors of a few torr and small electrode spacings and or dual frequency deposition are helpful to achieve high deposition rates with good field stability. High density plasma deposition of silicon dioxide from silane and oxygen or argon has been widely used to create a nearly hydrogen free film with good conformality over complex surfaces, the latter resulting from intense ion bombardment and consequent sputtering of the deposited molecules from vertical onto horizontal surfaces. The films typically deposited using PECVD are silicon nitride, silicon dioxide, silicon oxynitride, silicon carbide and amorphous silicon. Silane, the silicon source gas, is combined with an oxygen source gas to form silicon dioxide or nitrogen gas source to produce silicon nitride. Silicon dioxide and silicon nitride are dielectric, that is insulating materials commonly used in the fabrication of electronic devices to isolate multiple conductive layers, capacitors and for surface passivation. These films are also used for encapsulation to protect devices from corrosion by atmospheric elements such as moisture and oxygen. Next topic is laser irradiation in liquids, that is liquid phase plasma synthesis. Laser ablation of solid targets is one of the most emerging techniques for the micro and nano structuring of materials. Laser ablation in a liquid environment has attracted much attention in the last 2 decades due to its less destructive and more precise nature. With the help of this technique, morphology of the material could be easily modified with the development of debris-free nano and microstructures. The second advantage of this technique is an enhancement of chemical reactivity of most of the liquids with materials during laser irradiation, which results into formation of colloids, bumps and plasma-induced bubble cavitations due to oxides and metal alcohols. The structures formed in the liquid environment depend upon numerous parameters such as nature of the ambient environment, number of laser pulses and laser fluence, etc. Nanostructures and nanoparticles generated by this technique exhibit interaction of dense vapors of liquids with the molten layer on the target surface. Hydrodynamic instabilities under such conditions are responsible for such interactions. The molten layer behaves as a reservoir for the generation of nanostructure and nanoparticles. The substantial quantity of work is reported on laser ablation of metals in liquid environment. The generation of nanospikes on the silver surface via laser ablation in water and ethanol environment has been reported by from cone formation and laser-induced periodic surface structures on brass, bronze, copper and tungsten surface after ablation in distilled water and ethanol is investigated by Kazakiewicz. This kind of nanostructuring has been considered to be useful for various physical applications. The nanostructuring of tungsten in water by employing ND YAG and TI sapphire laser pulses show improvement in its thermoionic properties. Aim of the present work is to determine optimum conditions for the growth of micro and nanostructures on the brass target after ablation in the wet, that is deionized water and methanol, and dry, that is air environment. In order to explore the effect of wet and dry atmosphere, targets are exposed in an ambient environment of deionized water, methanol and air. To investigate the effect of number of overlapping pulses, targets were exposed for 1000, 2000, 3000 and 4000 number of overlapping pulses in each atmosphere. The surface and structural changes after laser irradiation have been investigated by SAME, AFM and ATR analysis. Experimental details are as follows. Laser ablation experiments were carried out using ND YAG laser operating at wavelength 532 nanometer, pulse width of 6 nanoseconds and repetition rate of 10 Hz. The rectangular shaped brass targets of dimensions 1.5 cm into 0.5 cm and of thickness 0.3 cm were polished. In order to ablate targets in a liquid environment, a Pyrex glass chamber was designed and fabricated with provision of the quartz window for the transmission of the laser beam. The diameter of the chamber was of 5 cm and its length was 17 cm. A horizontal tube of diameter 4 cm and of length 14 cm was attached to this chamber with the provision of two Teflon flanges for the placement of quartz window. The chamber was filled up with liquids, that is deionized water and methanol. After filling the chamber with deionized water and methanol, targets were placed inside the chamber with the help of a target holder and were placed perpendicular to the laser beam. The laser beam with average pulse energy of 150 millijoule was focused on the target through a focusing lens of focal length 50 cm after passing through a transmission window. The schematic of experimental setup is shown in figure. The laser fluence comes out to be 2.3 joule per centimeter square. In order to compare wet ablation with dry ablation, targets were also exposed in air for all three environments of deionized water, methanol and air. 4 targets were exposed for various number of overlapping laser pulses of 1000, 2000, 3000 and 4000 while keeping the laser fluence constant. The surface morphology and topography of the laser irradiated brass was investigated by using scanning electron microscope and scanning probe microscope in contact mode. The variation in chemical composition and structural modification is explored by attenuated total reflectance analysis. Thank you.